Hello. Good evening and welcome. How's it going, guys? Oh, hey, Chairman. Do you stick around for these things? Do you want to be a moderator? I don't mind if people ask kind of stupid questions sometimes, but if someone really says, hey, dude, you're fat and ugly, just kick them out. Nathan, I think you're still a mod. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Let's see here. How do I do that? Okay, I thought I could do that. Oh, there we go. Chairman, you've been promoted. All right, you guys know the drill. If you're from the channel, go ahead and tell us who you are and where you're watching from. And we're gonna give the first 5 minutes just to kind of welcomes and hellos and introductions, and then we're gonna get into tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is, are we actually showing up for the people that we say that we love? But are we actually? That's what we're gonna talk about. So, Chairman, if I could ship you over some spatchcock chicken, dude, I would. Arctic Dude, welcome up. Sharon, how's it going? Nathan, good to see you. Dan's from Minneapolis. Arctic Doc is Dan. All right, cool. I'll forget that in about 2 seconds. It literally is an Etch-a-Sketch. Which reminds me, tonight's topic, I'm going to tell you a story about, something that I definitely screwed up on this week. So, should be good. So hopefully we'll gather a few more folks in here in the next couple minutes. How's everybody's week going? Anybody have anything good happen this week? If you're new here, if you're just showing up, I'll give you a quick introduction. I'm Dude, 54 years old now. I know, some people say I look no older than 53 and a half. Some people say I look 70, so, to each their own. But my goal is to lose close to 110 pounds. Go from about 261 down to 155 to 160. So I've got a great weight loss goal, and that's just part of it. We're trying to change the whole person, trying to change a lot of bad behaviors, trying to change my relationship with food. And the point of the live stream every week is to talk about some of those things. I make daily content on YouTube, and that content is primarily focused on weight loss and the weight loss journey. We talk about the ups, the downs, the ins and outs, the good and the bad. So a lot of it follows kind of my journey. We're about 21 weeks into this thing, I think. I started making YouTube videos on March 3rd, and we started daily, or actually I started this little journey on March 16th, and I've been filming every single day since then. So anyway, so welcome. Says there's a handful of you here, so if you'll let us know where you're from and where you're watching from. We are going to get into tonight's topic. The way this works is we do about 5 minutes of introductions and how you doings, and then I'll take about 25 minutes or so and kind of talk about tonight's topic. Feel free to interject questions and comments. There's an interactive game as a portion of this. The games are continuing. I like the game. Tonight's game's kind of stupid, so we'll see how it goes. But Nathan from the Lone Star State, rock on. So anyway, so there will be some interaction, and then once the kind of the I don't know what you want to call it, but the lesson or the teaching or whatever, or my topic for the week has been discussed, then we'll just kind of chat and close out the night. So hopefully you get something good. do me a favor, if you want to support the channel and you get something out of tonight's topic or out of my videos on a daily basis, feel free to say thank you at the super chat. And all of those proceeds or donations go to help the channel and buy better equipment. So that's what we're doing. I ran out of Coke Zero, so we're having Diet Coke. Now, I know if you look at the ingredients, there's really no difference. But to the connoisseur of Coke, I would say that Coke Zero is better. That is my philosophy. So, oh, Ruggins, that's a great one, dude. Yeah, you know what? Great question. All right, we're gonna jump into this thing. So, let us talk about tonight's topic. What we're gonna do is we are going to, boop, bye-bye. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover the main question for tonight. Where we're heading towards this is, are we actually showing up for the people that we say matter to us? Because I think a lot of us are on this this weight loss journey. Bro, Coke Zero definitely has caffeine. A lot of us are on a weight loss journey. Some of you may just be chiming in because you saw that there was a live going on. Some of you may just be scrolling and popped in for 2 seconds. That's great. No matter why you're here, welcome. Let us know where you're from. But the bottom line is, for those of us who are on a weight loss journey, I think that it encompasses a lot more than just weight loss. We've talked about this a little bit before, but I think for those of us who have been maybe, dare I say, fat and obese, I think a lot of times there's a deeper reason for why we yo-yo up and down, why we struggle with sticking to a plan, there's a lot of different things that play into this. It's not just as simple as going, oh, I'm just tempted to eat food, right? There's more to it than that. I am an American. Absolutely. Where are you from? And I think part of it is a lot of us, if we were to say, what is your why? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to get more fit? Why do you want to, do all this stuff? I think a lot of us have come up with the ring, I want to be a better person for the people that I love, right? But then how many times do you kind of know something where people take people for granted, right? We take people for granted in our lives. I can think of people, no names, but I can think of people right now that they say things, right? I care about these people. I care about my family. I want to be there for them. I want to show up for them. But then you see it sometimes, you go, they don't really show up. They don't really show up. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is trying to figure out, ask yourself, am I showing up for the people that I say matter to me? So I've got 6 points I want to talk about, and I got to tell a story here to start off with. I had it was bad. I made a big mistake this last week. And it really doesn't have much to do with the diet. I made a mistake in some personal relationship things. So I know someone close to me. Well, I mean, not close, but close to me, that passed away recently. They were old. They were like in their 80s. I think late 80s. Lived a long, good life. His wife passed away several years ago, and now she was pretty obese most of her, from my memory. I've known these people since I was a kid. Hey, we're talking about tonight, I'll answer that one real quick. Are we showing up for the people that we say matter to us? And this is relating to weight loss and people who are on a transformation journey. So we're not discussing Pokemon. But so this person, my sister called me. So this is actually my sister's husband's dad. right? So not really a blood relative, but someone I had known since I remember like when I was like 8 years old. I grew up in Sacramento, California, and these people were like part of my life. My sister is quite a bit older than me. I think she's like 12 years older than me, or no, maybe like 7 or 8. Yeah. Hey. I think she's like 9 years older, 8 or 9 years older than me. Crap, if she sees this, she's gonna kill me. And she had a boyfriend from a pretty like I think in the high school. They dated for a while, you know what I mean, and then they got married. So when she was in high school, I was just like a little munchkin, you know what I mean, running around the house, everything. And I can relate a lot of stories to my brother-in-law, who became my brother-in-law. I've kind of told a couple of these things before, but I mean, he's one of the reasons. Damn him, but he's one of the reasons I like having a soda. From the time I was little, man, he was like a little more of a rough and tough guy. Had a big truck, liked going up in the Tahoe mountains and like cutting wood and having Saturdays like that, doing manly stuff. And they dragged me along with them when I was a kid, and they would always we'd always go stop at the 7-Eleven and get a big gulp, and that was like I just always thought it was cool, so I was always I got addicted to the soda at a young age, but. Get back to the story. His father passed away, right? She was texting me and saying, hey, this guy passed away. I won't use any names, but he passed away. We're looking at this date. And the next text that I remember reading said, it's like $1,000 extra bucks to have a funeral on the weekend. So, and I was like, oh, what mortuary you're going to? And she told me, and then the conversation kind of ended. And a couple days later, so she said, we're thinking about this day, but it's going to cost more money. So in my mind, I'm like, there wasn't a date set, and then she never got back to me at the time. And I've been stressed lately. I've been under a lot of pressure. I've been, work, home things, weight loss, YouTube, everything I'm doing. I mean, I'm kind of dialed in, like from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. And so it was just kind of out of sight, out of mind. Then she asked me some other questions, like about, family stuff, like totally unrelated. And I think my brain just went, boop, derailed, totally off that subject. And I was sitting there at work today. This is horrible. I felt really bad, actually. I teared up. I felt horrible. I was sitting there at work today, and I'm in the middle of a project. I'm focused, I'm doing my thing, getting it done. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh shiz. And I was like, oh crap. I totally forgot about the funeral. I missed it. And I just sat there I sat there for like just a few minutes just going, how could I possibly missed it? I cared about the person who passed away. I care about my sister, about my brother-in-law, about her children. And it's completely on me. And I texted her and I said, oh my gosh, I totally missed the funeral. And she goes, yep, you sure did. And I was like, oh, I'm just like, I said, I'm so sorry, I said, I don't remember you ever telling me a time. And I went back and looked at my text, and I'm like, yeah, there it is. She said it was on this day, but it's going to cost more, and da-da-da-da. And so, like, literally, she's like, scroll back up a little bit. And so I went back, I scrolled back up on my phone. I'm like, and sure enough, there was a text that said, the 7th at 11 a.m., this mortuary. And I just felt sick to my stomach. I didn't ever even read that text. I never, my eyes never processed that text. And so I just spaced it completely. So I felt really bad, and it kind of got me thinking. I'm not going to dwell on this point, but it's just something that happened, and she was like, it's okay, we had a great time, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. She's like, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. She's very understanding and all that kind of stuff like that, right? But it kind of got me thinking, a lot of times we say we care. And sure, circumstances happen, things happen in life, right? But if you look beyond the exception, not the rule, the question is to ask yourself, and I'm asking myself, this is what I've been kind of pondering all day, is what's the difference between caring and showing up? Because they're really not the same thing. You can genuinely love someone, but you can still fail to demonstrate it. Ooh, how many times have you seen that? How many times have you seen that where you say you love someone, but maybe you fail to demonstrate it? Or do you know somebody who claims that they care, but they fail to demonstrate it? Last week, I failed. I failed to show up for my sister. I failed to show up for my brother-in-law and for their family. I really wanted to be there. My fault. So, not passing on the buck. I'm just, I'm accepting it and we're moving on. But I didn't forget because I didn't care. That's the whole point. That's what really bugged me today when I remembered this whole thing, was I realized there's not going to be another chance, right? you only die once and there's only one funeral, right? But let me ask you, have you ever missed something really important like that yourself? Maybe involve someone that you did genuinely care about, but something like my situation happened, or you just plumb forgot. I don't think I'm alone in that one. So, but second point is we assume there's always going to be another chance, right? This one kills me too, because there's always that thing of, well, I'll call him later. Well, I'll go see him next week. Or maybe, the old, have you ever seen an old friend or something and you're going, hey, we need to get together. Yeah, we should get together sometime. Let's hook up, right? And I need to spend more time with my kids. That's another one. I need to spend more time with my kids. Or maybe you have a kind of a fleeting thought that goes in and out that goes, man, I should check up on that person. Haven't seen them in a while, right? And the problem is later, as it's incredibly convenient because at the end of the day, it doesn't require anything from you today. It's easy to say, I'll call him later. I'll get to him later. I'll do whatever. Thanks, Chairman. Appreciate that. And so the key is like realizing, and I'm not trying to be morbid or anything like that. I'm just basically saying, we always assume that there's tomorrow, right? We assume that there's going to be another chance. And I think a lot of times we get that thought that says, take action now, and maybe we don't. Have you ever been in that boat? I know I have. So point 3 is a distraction. Distraction can look like priorities. So we all have priorities, right? We all have things that we do every day. Now, some of you guys and gals are retired and, you got nothing to do but go pull the worms off your tomatoes. But some of us, life is still pretty hectic and regular. We all got things to do, right? We all have things to do. But there's things like work, right? We have phones. We can get distracted by our phones. YouTube is a distraction. Social media is a distraction. It can be things like chores. Working around the house can even be a distraction. Projects, I'm sewing that thing, or I'm building that thing, or I'm baking that thing, right? There's always some sort of project. Diet and exercise, that's a project, right? Myself is a project right now. And so it's easy. Money can be a distraction. Errands, all things that happen every single day, the things that we worry about, things that we have to deal with, things that are legitimate. But at the same time, even though it can be something important, it could crowd out something in your life that's even more important. Does that make sense? So here's the question is, I got notes. I'm going to read this one. What good is building a better life if we stop paying attention to the people the life is supposed to be shared with, right? We all have friends, we all have family. Some of you may have a spouse or a loved one, kids, grandparents, siblings, could even be a best friend, a coworker that you're really close to, something, right? We all have people. So what kind of things distract us from maybe being there? I got distracted by a bunch of things last week, and I didn't show up to the funeral. It's important to have those priorities in order, right? Because if you knew that there was no tomorrow, if you knew that friend was gonna fall ill, or, if you knew that family member was gonna have a heart attack or something, it would probably change the way that you act and react today. I know it would for me. Moving on, part 4, section 4. Showing up doesn't always need to be a grand gesture, right? So showing up, doesn't mean like I'm driving 6 hours across the state to get toe to toe and knee to knee and face to face with someone and tell them I love you, right? Or something like that. It doesn't have to be some big thing. Sometimes it can be small and ordinary. So something like a phone call, right? Reaching out and saying, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up? How's it going? Yo, right? Could be sitting with someone, just spending some quality time with someone, right? Maybe phones down, undistracted, spending some quality time. Sending that text you've been meaning to send, something like that. Going to a ball game, going to see a movie, inviting them out for the evening, something like that. Maybe like listening instead of half listening. I think this is a big one for parents. If you've still got children at home, things like that. Putting the dang phone down and actually paying attention and letting them know that you're paying attention is huge. It's massive. Something like driving across town, remembering that birthday, like I said, having dinner together, going out, and asking them, maybe someone like, how are you really doing? And I think I read this. It said, sometimes the thing that someone remembers forever only took 20 minutes. Wasn't a big deal on our part, but it made a big enough difference in someone else's life that they would remember it forever. We've talked about a couple of things like that in the past. I've had people do some, acts of service, gifts of charity, things like that over the course of my life. And, I got stories to tell about them today. They probably don't ever think about it. So you don't know how your kindness, your generosity, your willingness might affect somebody else forever. You know what I mean? So number 5, we're moving right through this. Boy, we're gonna have a lot of time to chat tonight. This is going faster than normal, and everybody keeps getting kicked out. So we need the regulars to do some chatting here. It's a small group tonight. I actually posted late. I didn't. So this was not advertised unless you're a regular who knows that you come for the weekly live, which is only a handful of you. This was only posted like an hour and a half ago. So yeah, I don't expect much tonight. But if you're here, I appreciate it. Thank you. So number 5, the people closest to us are the easiest ones to take for granted. There's an old saying, you'll hear me say it like a lot. Familiarity breeds contempt. And oftentimes those that are in our inner circle, right? And that could be, again, immediate family, close family, extended family, it could be coworkers. You all see the new coworker who comes into the office and they're trying to prove themselves and they're trying to fit in, and and they respect everybody, they show everybody respect, but 6 months later, they could be talking trash, or they could be being disrespectful or whatever, because it's the same thing. They get to know you, they get familiar with you. Familiarity breeds contempt, and pretty soon people, they let their guard down and they start acting, maybe the way they always would. You kind of get to see true colors. But it's true. It happens. It happens in a family. It happens in a relationship. We tend to take those that are closest to us for granted, and it becomes easy to sometimes give our best manners and our best self to strangers and acquaintances. I hate that, right? Have you ever been in an argument with your spouse? I know I have, but and you go, I know she doesn't talk like that to the guys at work or something, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, because she doesn't love them, right? Or, she could be saying the same thing about me, I know you don't do that around people that you don't really know. And it's true, we have like our home self and our work self, and hopefully we're constantly trying to show our best self, right? But I know it happens. So excuses that come along with the people that we know and love, things like, I'm busy, right? I'm in the middle of something. Or, just hold on, I'm busy right now. The same thing, I'm busy, hold on, kind of goes hand in hand. Or in a minute, the kids come up, Dad, can you help me? Can you go play outside and play catch? In a minute, Yeah, man. I sometimes fall out with my brother. Absolutely. See, it happens, I think, to everyone. You're not alone, I think a lot of families are dysfunctional. A lot of families allow themselves to become dysfunctional, and it's because the familiarity breeds contempt. Because it takes, going back to everything we've been talking about already for the last 5 months, it takes you being conscious and self-aware and asking yourself continually, like, am I showing up the best I can? You know what I mean? So, graded. Hey, man, it's already started, dude. You're late. Man. It is a cult to try and be a better person. Right? I'm on the macro cult right now. I'm on the ketogenic cult. We're doing it. So maybe this weekend, right? Because we always assume that there's another day. So we assume that we're going to get around to it. We procrastinate things with the people that we care about because we just assume they're always going to be there. We assume we're going to get around to it. Whatever. Should I grade it? I should, huh? No. Am I running for office? Do you live in your mom's basement? That's what I'd like to know. So, your spouse, your kids, your parents, friends, siblings. Think about it. Think about it. Who have you, who could you be doing a better job showing up for that you care about? Number 6, regret is useful if it changes something. So, again, I can't go back and show up at the funeral. That's like done and over with, right? But I can learn from that and go, man, I should not have missed that. I should have set a reminder in my phone. I should have set 4 reminders in my phone. I'm kind of absent-minded. I always say my sponge is full, like I'm on data overload. And so if I don't write it down, if I don't set the reminder, whatever, I tend to lose out. I just tend to miss it, right? But you can't fix yesterday by feeling worse about it, but you can honor it by behaving differently tomorrow. And I think that comes down to the whole weight loss journey that a lot of us are on here. It comes down to trying to be a better person, to trying to show up for yourself, for the people that you love. It all comes down to behavior modification, right? You guys hear me say this every week. I'll keep saying it for the 2 new people that watch this, but it's it's not always about the diet or the workout program. The best workout, the best diet for you is the one that you can stick with right now. Talked about that yesterday in my video. It's figuring out what perspective I'm at, where I'm at, where I'm standing, how I'm viewing myself, how I'm viewing the world, and then picking the right kind of a diet or an exercise program that fits you today. And that may modify as you get closer to your goal. I know mine will, but it's about figuring out what is gonna, what you can stick with. Because again, the best laid out plan that you can't stick with is not a good laid out plan for you, right? It could be the best workout system on the planet, the most popular one that all the cool kids are doing, but if you can't do it, it doesn't matter, right? For whatever reason. So regret is only useful if you learn from it. Other than that, it's a waste of time. So learn from the mistake and move on, right? So now is the point of the show. We're 30 minutes in. That's actually timed out about perfect. We're on the home stretch. We're almost done. So now is the point in the show, and there's only 9 of you here right now. So, I mean, please respond in the chat. So we're going to play a little game. This one's going to be called Show Up or Reach Out. So you're going to comment, show up or reach out. Now let me kind of define that. I'm going to define these things because there's really no wrong answer. So it's more of a discussion. But show up, let's just put that as maybe showing up face to face, attending that funeral, right? That I didn't do. And reaching out, maybe reaching out's not always a bad option, but maybe reaching out could be, sending that text message, making that phone call, reaching out. It's kind of self-explanatory, at least for most. So, all right. We'll see if anyone responds here. Question number 1. You got a friend that you haven't talked to in a year, and you hear that they just lost their parent. I'm going to give it a second for you guys to respond. I'll read that again. Your reaction is, am I going to show up or am I going to reach out? A friend you haven't talked to in a year loses a parent. Yeah, I agree. I'll let 2 or 3 of you answer if you'll at least play along with me. Because, for the, I'd say 10 to 28 people that we get every week, there's probably about 300 to 400 that watch the replay. So your participation helps the replay. So thank you. Anyway, reach out, right? I think that's the right answer. There's no right or wrong answer, but if you look at the situation, maybe it's a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, but you may not even know their parent. So I don't know, there's really reason to go over there, but you could reach out. A simple phone call, hey, I heard your dad passed away or whatever, or a simple text, hey, just want you to let know. I mean, people on Facebook, oh, my father passed away, blah, 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 blah. And you'll just see people saying, hey, you're in my thoughts and prayers, thinking about you today, da, da, da. Just something like that. That can touch somebody's heart, right? It could let them know. I know when my mom died, my dad died, many years ago. I was pretty young. I was married and had 2 kids. So probably about 30 or so, like that, 28, 30, something like that. And, but my mom passed away. It was still several years ago now, 8 to 10 years ago. But that's the most recent one. And just people who reached out made a big difference. I mean, people that you hadn't heard of from a while, just them saying hey, great work. I know for me, if I post an update on my weight loss, I post every day here, I'm trying to build a community and a channel. There's not a lot of people that know me personally on here. I kind of purposely didn't really invite my friends. I had one Facebook post where I said, hey, if you want to follow the channel, do, and there's a few that do. There's some family member that follow the Dudes World channel. But if I do post an update every 3 months or so on Facebook, it's amazing. I'll get people who comment that I haven't heard from a long time and said, hey, you're doing great, or they just reach out. It means a lot. So, all right, number 2, moving on. Your grown child calls while you're in the middle of something that can wait. Your grown child call, your 30-year-old child calls you up while you're in the middle of something. Oh, wait, while you're in the middle of something that can wait. So it's not top priority. But they called you. Now that's a little bit tough one to differentiate. You guys are saying reach out, and I agree with you. But I think by definition, I'm going to say show up, meaning they called, I'm picking up the phone and showing up, putting off that thing that I'm in the middle of that can wait, and I'm going to show up, take the phone call, and write. Which I'm pretty sure that's what you guys were saying, right? So I agree. I just wanted to kind of define that. So number 3, I think we're all in agreement. Someone tells you they're having a rough week, but says, I'm fine. Ooh, come on, ladies. How many of you have a friend? This is a lady thing, you know. Women are notorious. I'm not trying to be chauvinistic. Women are notorious for saying, oh, I'm fine. Am I wrong? Come on. Right? Reach out or show up. So, now, and I also say, I think my answer would probably be, depending on the question, and ChatGPT helped me write these questions, so that's what, some of them are kind of funny. But, someone tells you they're having a rough week but says, I'm fine. Now, if that person is a coworker at work and says, I'm having a rough week, but, I'll be okay. Maybe I get the inkling that maybe they won't be, and I show up and I say, hey, what's going on? How can I help? Right? That can be showing up. But if someone were to, I see something on Facebook and someone says, oh, I'm having a rough week, but I'll be fine. They drama post, right? Well, then maybe I'd reach out. Hey, saw your post on Facebook, a text message. Everything all right? Right? That might be a way to reach out and kind of show up. Does that make sense? That was kind of a badly worded question for the answer, but ChatGPT, what do you expect? It gets half the thing screwed up. And yeah, Nathan, I agree with that. Fine seldom means fine. Good is fine, but not fine. Yeah. Not to go into marriage counseling, but that's kind of like when your wife says, whatever. Whatever does not mean whatever. Whatever means F you, buddy. Right? Right? So, yeah. Yeah, I think I do that too, Chairman. I tend to use the word fine. If someone says, how you doing? And I'm okay, I say, I'm phenomenal. And if you want to sound positive, but you really don't want to let them know there's something wrong, hey, is everything going good? Unbelievable. Could be unbelievably bad or unbelievably good, right? Whatever is like that's the worst, man. Whatever. Whatever. Heard that many times in my life, I think. All right, an old friend. We're going to get through these here. An old friend keeps saying, we need to get together sometime. Show up or reach out. Again, depends on how they're saying it. But let's even say you bump into them at the local grocery store or something. Hey, what's up, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, we ought to get together sometime. Yeah, man. Make that plan. I don't say that to people that I wouldn't actually want to hang out with. If I see someone I don't want to hang out with, I'm like, hey, man, good seeing you. I'm out, right? But if someone is like, hey, we should get together sometime, and it is someone that you'd want to hang out with, then yeah, give them a phone call, send them a text, set that day, go to dinner, go do something, go have that lunch appointment, whatever, Next, moving on. All right, number 5, your spouse wants to talk, and you're Your spouse wants to talk and you're halfway through whatever dumb thing you're watching. I'm binging Netflix. Go away. Right? Yeah, if your spouse wants to talk and you're halfway doing that dumb thing you're watching, I would think show up is the correct answer, right? You better drop everything and you better laser in and pay some dang attention. You don't have to pay attention. You don't have to finish the question on that one. Now, if you're a man, you're in fear mode right there. You're like, I'm about to get it. But yeah, I mean, seriously, if your spouse, if your partner, if your loved one, if your if someone really important to you wants to talk, I'd say drop what you're doing as much as humanly possible and show up for them. So number 6, a family member has a surgery or medical procedure coming up, but they keep saying, "Don't worry about me." You know, a family member. What was that? A family member has surgery or a medical procedure, and they say, "Don't worry about it." Now, you know, it could go both ways, right? Because once again, it kind of depends on where they live, where you live. It could be, Nathan, depends on which family member. That could be, right? That could be. You know, and if they're far away and they're saying, "Hey, it's not a big deal," you know, once they have the surgery, maybe you could text them and say, "Hey, you know, how's it going? Everything work out okay?" Whatever. You know, let them know you at least care, thinking about them. If they're local, you know, and they're having that thing done, again, maybe you can do what you can do. That's kind of a personal decision, and I know sometimes relations in the family are tense. I wouldn't fault you for having those kind of tense relationships. I would only challenge you to say, what can you do better? Number 7, someone you care about gets laid off and you know they're embarrassed about it. Do you run right over to their house and show up? I think I would reach out, you know, especially if you know they're embarrassed about it, you know, maybe be a little bit tender. "Hey, I heard of something that's going on, you know, hope you're okay," something like that, whatever, reach out, right? That'd be me. Because sometimes pride gets in the way, right? We get embarrassed by certain things that happen in our lives. If you're that person, let's say, and you don't want everyone making a big scene about it or coming to aid you in the drama or whatever, but, you know, reaching out might be a nice gesture, because I don't think you can show people too much. I mean, I guess you could, don't take this over the top here, but you know, it's like, can you say "I love you" too much to someone that you care about? Or can you show them in some sort of a way that you care too much, right? I mean, you could be some sort of an obsessive, freakish, you know, over the top lunatic, but we're not talking about that, right? We're talking, not talking extreme behavior, we're talking normal behavior. Anyway, moving on. Number 8, a couple more here. Your parent or grandparent keeps mentioning that you never come by anymore. Okay, now this is a good one. "You never come see me anymore." Maybe you're the grandma. Now, I'd say you better show up. You know, make an effort. Because here's what I find. People talk about what they're focused on. People have a hard time, you know, if you get good at watching social cues and watching people, you can see someone's hidden agenda. You can see if someone's lying or telling the truth. You can see these things because people just have a way of talking about what they're focused on. So, if grandma, or, you know, that was grandma, right? If your parent or grandma or grandpa or grandparent, you know, is saying, "Oh, you never come see me anymore," that's their way of saying, "I'm lonely," right? That's their way of saying, "I'd like some company." Probably a good thing to show up. That would be my opinion there. Number 9, a friend misses a couple things they normally never miss and seem quieter than usual. So something's going on in their life, right? They, you know, something's going on in their life. They've missed a couple things they'd normally never miss. I don't know what that is. I'm trying to think of some examples. You know, the weekly card game. I don't know. Right? But you can tell there's something going on in life because their behavior is different. I think that's really kind of what it is. And I kind of agree with you guys. I'd probably be like, if it's a friend and the behavior's kind of changed, maybe it's not a run right over there and save the day, because you don't have to be the drama hero for everybody, right? But it's a reach out, let them know you're thinking about them, let them know you care, ask them if there's anything you can do, you know, and, you know, do that. So, number 10, what's the last one? You realize there's someone important to you that you haven't talked to in months. and there's no reason why. I got people like that in my life. I have friends that we used to go to dinner with all the time, like literally like best friends. We'd go to their house all the time. We'd have barbecues. We'd have pool parties. We'd go out to restaurants, husband and wives. We'd chill. They were just good friends. Life kind of got away. We don't see them as much anymore. And it's just like one of those things where you haven't seen them for a while. Reach out. Here's what I've found in my life. In every relationship, right? You got two people, two individuals. It could be one person in a group of people. Maybe there's 5 or 6 friends in your friend group and you're one person in that group, Have you noticed there's always someone that's got to be the glue? There's always someone that has to be the glue. So you can either be prideful and be like, well, they don't ever call me, so I'm not calling them. Or you can be the freaking glue. And you can reach out and you can be, I used to know this guy, worked with me for several years. He's one of my best friends, like really good, like other best friend, you know what I mean? Like we both have a common, really, really good friend. And this guy was a master of networking. We used to call it the old 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. No, this was more like the 4 degrees of Allen. This guy knew he could get you to anybody. And then he knew if he didn't know somebody, he would know somebody who knows somebody who knows that guy. And this guy he was always, hey buddy, what's up? We'd always make a joke because he was always calling somebody and he was always just kind of keeping those relationships alive, probably better than anyone I've ever met, because someone has to be the glue, right? Someone has to be the one that reaches out. And it's very easy to let relationships and people that we care about fall to the wayside if you don't. So be the guy that reaches out. Be the woman that reaches out. It is tiring. It's not easy. I'm the glue. I'm really good friends with, I get along with half my family. I got one sister that won't talk to me. I honestly don't know why. I have another sister that lives in town where we're always friendly. Merry Christmas, happy birthday, how you doing? Love you. But we just two very different people. We don't hang out, but when we see each other, it's great. We get along wonderful. I have 2 sisters that actually text me and call me, and we have pretty frequently conversations. And on my wife's side of the family, I'm pretty good friends with all of her siblings. She's got 2 brothers. They've been some of my best friends. Really good friends with one of her sisters. Another sister that we really get along with, and the whole family we pretty much get along with. But it is tiring because like when we go up north, I'm always the guy saying, hey, let's get everyone together. Let's all go to dinner. Let's all go do something. It can be tiring to be that person, but I think it's important. Let me know. And then we're going to wrap it up here. So here's the bottom line. The bottom line is it doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't take a lot of effort to call, to send a text, sometimes it's a bigger effort to, a family member had surgery and it may be a bigger effort to make them dinner and take it over to them and say, here, I want to make sure you're taken care of or something like that. But the bottom line is, when we have those people in our life that we care about, I think it's important to reach to show up. This week I kind of bonked it. I had a funeral last Friday I should have gone to. Totally spaced it. My fault. I wish I would have gone. So all this lesson and live stream is about tonight is learning from those mistakes and making better choices to show up for the people that I care about. So anyway, that is that. If you've got a question, we've got a few more minutes. We got like 10 minutes left. Okay. Rocket White says, I had a couple of friends I let go because all we ever talked about was the service. I was thinking you meant like charity type service. No, the service, like stories about overseas. You mean like military service, right? Never ended. Sometimes I miss them, and most of the time I don't. Okay. That's hard, man. If you've got like one thing in common, like we both experienced this thing together, it is hard. It's kind of like even like old work friends, places maybe you've worked before. You get to know someone really, really close at work, but then when you don't work there anymore, you don't have that in common. The thing that kind of glued you together is now gone. And so it does get hard. And I'm still a big believer that you're a grown adult. You have the decision and the choice to have in your life who you want to have in your life. And everyone doesn't automatically get a spot, you know. But again, main point of tonight is talking about putting in the context of the people that you really care about. Are you showing them up? Are you showing them? So, any more comments, questions? Let's scroll back, see if I really kind of missed anything. Sharon's the glue in her family and friend group. Yep, me too. Nathan says, people get busy, life changes, not all friends are made to be life friends. 100% agree. I've had a lot of friends, right? People come and go. Some people are passing through. When my kids were growing up and in high school and everything is so dramatic and so like important and whatever, I'd be like, dude, I have like a handful of friends that I've known that long. I got 2 friends I can think of right now off the top of my head that are literally like lifers. And guess what? We don't hang out all the time. It's not like we were in high school. We don't go over to each other's house every day after school. We're not hanging out with our families on the weekend. But I make a point to one of my very best friends. I make a point to call him every month. He usually calls me. If I don't, we chat. We get caught up. We don't even I think we've gone out and hung out with our wives one time in our married life of 30 years or so. One of my other good friends, Troy, had his daughter's wedding a while back. I filmed a little bit there. We still hang out. We'll still get together and we'll go out to dinner. We'll go play games. We'll go do something. We'll go do stuff. Got another friend named Steve. I didn't meet him like a long time ago in high school, but I met him when I was young and married. We became really good friends. He became one of my mentors. I worked for him for 12 years. We still talk on the phone all the time. We'll get together and hang out and stuff. So, but it takes effort, right? These things don't just come easily. James, I've had lots of friends as a drunk. Now I'm sober and I have none. Yeah, I get it, man. It's time to make some new friends. No, but what happened is, let's say that's hanging out at the bar, going to the pub after work, things like that, right? It's the glue that tied you together, and now your priorities have changed, and if they're still doing that and you're not, it makes it hard to connect, and that's kind of that happens. I think I missed a couple here. My brother's in the hospital and I called that day and we both said, I love you. And he died 2 days later. Wow. Sharon, sorry to hear that. That may be an old story or a new one, but man, aren't you glad? Aren't you glad that you had that phone call? Because there's a lot of times in life that people have something very similar happen, but the phone call was never made. I think, and I have such a bad time remembering the details, but I think I talked to my dad the night before he died. Or the day, it could have been either the night he died or the day before. But he didn't wake up. Had a heart attack in the middle of the night. And I remember talking to him about losing weight. And all that kind of stuff, and what I would have given for my kids to know him more. He was a great man, and I think only one of my kids really got to meet him. So, yeah, we don't take it for granted, right? We've got to stick with these things, and we have to be the ones to do it. And sometimes that's hard to hear. You may not agree with me. You may go, well, BS, it doesn't have to be me, screw them, right? But I'm here to tell you, personal growth comes when you stop being the victim and you stop blaming everything and everybody and every circumstance around you for anything in your life. Could be being overweight, could be the fact that you don't have as much money as you want or not as many friends as you have, whatever. You have to take, you got to grab life by the balls, and you've got to take action, and you got to take matters into your own hands, and you got to do it for you. You got to do it for you first, and then you positively benefit everybody else around you. And the world starts to snowball and change around you. Because our own little worlds are like this big, right? I mean, we all live in this teeny little microcosm, however billion people there are on the earth, I mean, most people can't name 200, right? Most people on their Facebook profile have 500 to 1,000 friends. But we all know those are not all your friends. Those are mostly people that maybe you know or met one time or have come in and out of your life, right? Oh man, I missed a good dirty message to me. It got deleted before I even saw it. So, I don't like bumping into old friends in case they say something. Yeah, I get that. So what you kind of have to do is you kind of have to learn to grow and bloom and blossom where you are. It's kind of like the video yesterday. Know where you stand and then make your plans according to where you are right now. So, like I said, the best laid plan, the best group of friends, when maybe you stop drinking or whatever for your health, for, moral reasons, for, I don't know, but whatever reason, you're going down a different path now, and you got to kind of grow on that path. And there are people along the same path, right? I mean, we're finding them. We got a little hub, a little community. There may only be 12 people right now, but guess what? There's been as little as 4 on here, and there's been as many as 30. It's a small little blurb, and 200 to 300 to 400 people will go back and watch the live stream. And finding like-minded people with common ground who are going the same direction. Maybe we won't all be going the same direction our rest of our lives, but right now we are. And we can be there to support, we can be there to uplift, and we can be there to say, hey, when I went through some of those questions in the game, I know that you thought of somebody. So I'm going to issue you a challenge. Who is that friend? You don't have to answer in the chat, but who's that friend you've been thinking of? Who's the family member that popped into your mind? Who's the parent, the sibling, the son or daughter? Who's the friend that you've lost contact with? My challenge to you is to be the glue. Maybe just reach out. Reach out and just say, what's up? Right? Reach out and say, hey, I've been thinking about you. Do better, right? That's the ultimate goal here, I think. It's the same thing with our diet, with our exercise, with our own little journeys that we're on to each get to our individual goals. But I think if you're ignoring the whole person, then you're just going to end up in the same place eventually. Like, you can force diet and exercise for a certain amount of time and lose a bunch of weight. But I think if you don't focus on becoming more, wanting more, and striving to be more, then I think that, you're missing out in the long run. Because I think life is about living. So don't forsake those that you care about. Don't forget to go to the damn funeral like I did, right? We all make mistakes. We learn, we grow, we get better. So you guys are awesome. That's about it tonight. We've got 20 seconds. If you want to help the channel in any way, shape, or form, you can donate a super chat. You can donate those on the live streams. You can donate those on the videos. Hopefully, my hope is that I find a group of people who get something out of what I have to share along my personal journey. And if you can relate to that, watch the videos, like the videos, comment, donate a super chat, do the things that actually help you participate in the community. And it really helps me in every single way, whether it's moral support, financial support, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Till next week's live. And tomorrow is a story time with Dude. My least popular videos, but they always have a good message. Come on. See you tomorrow. Dude out.